That's right, and even if Lord Beerus can vaporize his body like Trunks did with that sword, he'll turn into that ether and they're still screwed.
I have something even better than your containment wave in that adorable little jar with a seal. But there's one problem I can't solve. Naturally, if I take Trunks and Mai to an earlier point in their timeline, they will already be there. Two versions of each of you forced to coexist. Can you do that?
It's fine with me. If that's the price to enter a world where everyone we fought with is alive, well then if you ask me, that's a pretty good bargain.
A very familiar time machine traveled between time and space, breaking the rules of the gods in an unforgivable way, and with a flash of light, the machine landed in the garden of Capsule Corporation. The time machine opened, and future Trunks stepped onto the grass, breathing deeply in the familiar air. He looked around, feeling a mixture of nostalgia and joy. The door to the house opened and Bulma appeared. She stopped abruptly when she saw her son, something she never imagined would happen after the events with Zamasu. Bulma said, "Trunks! What are you doing here?" Trunks said, "Hi, Mom. It's good to see you." Bulma frowned, realizing that something terrible could have happened in the future. Bulma said, "Wait a minute, Trunks, what happened? Another time crisis?" Trunks smiled slightly, calming her down. Trunks said, "No, nothing like that. This time I came for a good reason." Meanwhile, Vegeta was training in the gravity room, doing his best to overcome his rival. The Saiyan prince stopped when he felt the familiar key, abandoned his training and went towards the place where this key and his wife were. Vegeta said, You again, boy? What brought you here?" Trunks took...
One thing I really love about Vegeta, we might... Sorry guys. We might think Vegeta is nonchalant and all that, but when it comes to Trunks, he got the soft spot about his son. He literally loves his son. He loves Trunks so bad.
Took a deep breath before beginning his explanation. Trunks said, "After Zamasu was defeated, Whis fulfilled his promise and took me to a new future. A future where everything worked out." Bulma said, "A new future? I remember that day. Can you explain better what Whis did?" Trunks said, "There are two of me and two mice there, and you, mother, are alive." Bulma brought her hands to her face, overcome with emotion. Bulma said, "I am alive in your future. That's wonderful." Vegeta said, "So you finally fixed things, huh? Good job, kid." Trunks nodded, relieved to see the pride in his father's eyes. Trunks said, "We sealed Zamasu in a prison much more powerful than Mafuba's jar. He'll never be a problem again." Bulma said, "Phew. So, if everything is fixed, why did you come?" Trunks hesitated for a moment, then smiled, a slight blush on his face. Trunks said, "I came because Mai and I got married, and we have a son." Vegeta raised his eyebrows in surprise, but soon a rare smile appeared on his face. Vegeta said, "Ah, I finally thought that you wouldn't continue our bloodline." Bulma elbowed him.
Oh my god.
Laughing. Bulma said, "Vegeta, but congratulations, Trunks! That's amazing!" However, a deep, angry voice cut through the cheerful mood. Beerus said, "What? You used the time machine again?" Everyone turned to see Beerus, the god of destruction, with his eyes narrowed and his arms crossed. Trunks said, "Beerus-sama, I just came to visit you. I won't interfere with time." Beerus said, "I had already forgiven you for that whole mess with Zamasu, and now you show up here like nothing happened." Whis, who was standing next to Beerus, gave a light laugh. Whis said, Now, Lord Beerus, he's not causing any trouble." Beerus ignored the angel and pointed a threatening finger at Trunks and said, "You have 5 seconds to get back in this time machine and disappear from my sight before I erase you from existence." The air grew heavy. Vegeta immediately positioned himself between Beerus and Trunks, his protective instincts taking over. Vegeta said, "Beerus, he did nothing wrong." Beerus said, "You Saiyans are all the same. You think you can play with the rules of time whenever you want." Trunks knew there was no point in arguing, so he looked at Bulma and Vegeta, smiling gratefully. Trunks said, "I just wanted you to know that I'm okay, and that our family will continue to be strong in the future." Bulma gave him a quick hug and said, "Take care of your family, Trunks," Vegeta said. "Show this kid what it means to be a Saiyan." Beerus huffed impatiently. Beerus said, "Enough with the sentimentality. Get lost." Trunks waved one last time before stepping into the time machine.
Come on, Trunks. At this moment, you just gotta dip, bro. You just gotta go, because at some point, it's gonna get messy. And it ain't gonna be nice. So you gotta vanish. Vanish, twin. Vanish.
Trunks said, "See you later, guys." He was about to activate the time machine when Vegeta suddenly stepped forward, his face serious, but with a glint of urgency in his eyes. Vegeta said, "Wait, kid." Trunks stopped in surprise, looked at his father and asked, "What? Do you have something to tell me, Dad?" Vegeta said, "You can't go yet. You talked about your future, but you didn't ask how we are. It's not fair." Beerus rolled his eyes, clearly irritated, and said, "Oh please, this is already boring. He's already said what he came to say. Now you can go." Whis, however, lightly touched Beerus' shoulder with his staff, smiling. Whis said, "Now, Lord Beerus, it doesn't hurt to wait a few more minutes. After all, it's a special family gathering." Beerus crossed his arms, snorting. Beerus said, "Ish, fine, but if this goes on for too long, I'll send him back myself." Bulma smiled, relieved, and said, "So, tell me, how is this grandson of mine? Does he look like you?" Trunks laughed, his eyes lighting up as he spoke of his son. Trunks said, "His name is Takeshi, and yes, he looks a lot like me, but he has Mai's stubborn streak." Vegeta gave a rare smile. Vegeta said, "At least he has Saiyan blood. Has he started training yet?" Trunks said, "At 4 years old, he already releases some accidental ki blasts. Mai almost freaked out when he blew up her backyard." Vegeta gave a short laugh, proud. Vegeta said, "Good boy." Beerus, who was lying in the air, yawned and decided to speak. "How exciting, kids destroying things. I've never seen that before." Whis ignored the sarcasm and asked curious, "And how is Earth in your new future? Any interesting threats?" Trunks thought for a moment. Trunks said, "Nothing like Zamasu, thanks to you and Beerus-sama, but the other me and the other Mai deal with some bad guys from time to time. They even formed a city protection group." Bulma raised an eyebrow in doubt and asked, "Wait a minute, do you two get along?" Trunks replied, "Yes. The other version of me and the other version of Mai are the same age as us, but since I'm more experienced, Mai and I take care of them. It's weird, but it works." Vegeta looked pleased and said, "At least you're not alone out there." Beerus sighed dramatically. Beerus said, "What a touching story. Can you leave now?" Trunks
Come on, Beerus. Come on. Don't be a hater, bro. Don't be a hater, bro. Let the family reunite for a second. Let them be. Come on, man. What?
looked at Beerus hesitantly, but then decided to share one last thing. Trunks said, "Actually, there's one more thing." Everyone looked at him curiously. Trunks said, "Since Goku and Vegeta don't exist in my future, I'm training to reach a new level." Vegeta was immediately interested. Vegeta said, "What level?" Trunks said, "I don't know if that's possible, but I need to surpass my last transformation that I used against Zamasu Super Saiyan Rage. I'm afraid that something more powerful than Zamasu will appear." Vegeta let out a dry laugh and said, "Something more powerful than Zamasu? Of course it could appear. An old energy-stealing goat named Moro has already given us a hard time. If he resurfaced in your future, your Super Saiyan Rage wouldn't be enough." Trunks' eyes widened. Trunks said, "Moro, who is it?" Vegeta said, "It doesn't matter. The point is, if Kakarot and I surpass Super Saiyan Blue, you can also surpass Rage." Trunks swallowed hard, but a gleam of determination lit up in his eyes. He knew Vegeta was right. Trunks said, "So, could you train me?" Vegeta gave an arrogant smile, but before he could answer, Beerus interrupted, furious. Beerus said, "Absurrounding! Enough of this nonsense!"
Come on! Come on! Come on, bro.
He came here just to say he has a son. Enough, he broke the law of the gods. If Zeno-sama finds out that I know this and that I did nothing, he will erase me. Trunks tightened his grip, but Whis, calm as ever, said, "Lord Beerus, think about it. If Trunks gets stronger, he will never have to go back to the past to ask for help again. Isn't that convenient?" Beerus frowned, considering, and said, If he promises never to show up here again after this." Trunks didn't miss the chance. Trunks said, "I promise." Vegeta rubbed his hands together excitedly. Vegeta said, "All right, kid, let's see if you've got what it takes." Beerus put his hand on his head and said, "So much drama over some random Saiyan." Whis smiled and said, "Then it's decided. Vegeta, you have 3 days to train him. After that, he'll return to his future, forever." Trunks nodded, determined. Trunks said, 3 days is more than enough." Vegeta took a step forward, his ki already beginning to tremble. Vegeta said, "Let's begin now. Show me what this rage thing can do." And so under Beerus's angry glare and Whis' calm smile, the training began. A training that could change the fate of the future once again. Beerus's planet was a place Trunks would never have imagined setting foot on. The purple sky, the different gravity, and the divine aura that hung in the air left the young warrior in awe. He barely had time to absorb the surreal landscape when a familiar voice echoed. Goku said, "Hey Trunks, it's good to see you again, and even stronger." The Saiyan appeared in a flash, his usual wide smile plastered on his face. Trunks couldn't help but smile when he saw him. Trunks said, "Goku, I didn't know you'd be here." Goku said, "Of course I am. When Vegeta told me he was going to train you, I couldn't lose. Besides, that Moro guy Vegeta mentioned is really strong. If he shows up in your future, you're going to..."
You know, at some point I need to understand who is this Moro guy? Who is this Moro guy? Because I don't know about him. I gotta go and watch Dragon Ball Z again. Because I last watched Dragon Ball Z a long time ago. So I gotta go back and watch it again. No way.
You're going to need a lot more than your Super Saiyan rage. Trunks clenched his fists, determined, and said, "I understand. That's why I'm here." Beerus, who was watching everything, decided to speak. "Another noisy Saiyan on my planet. Wonderful." Whis, always elegant, smiled as he adjusted his staff. Whis said, Now, Beerus, this could be fun." Goku, excited as always, jumped in front of Trunks. Goku said, "Before we begin, you need to know something. After the fight with Zamasu, I participated in an incredible tournament organized by Zeno-sama." Trunks said, "Zeno-sama? You mean the god of everything?" Vegeta said, "Ish, this idiot managed to get us into yet another trouble." Goku ignored his rival's comment and continued enthusiastically. Goku said, "That's when I activated a new transformation. It's called Ultra Instinct." Before Trunks could answer, Goku closed his eyes. His body began to glow with a silver aura, his hair turned silver, and his eyes opened, revealing a crystal clear and serene pupil. Trunks felt the overwhelming power and took a step back, stunned. Trunks said, That's incredible! The kick is completely different!" Vegeta, with an arrogant smile, crossed his arms and said, "Don't be so impressed, boy. I also have a transformation that rivals his." Beerus opened one eye, interested. Beerus said, "Ah yes, the Ultra Ego, finally something worthy of a god of destruction to watch." Vegeta wasted no time. With a roar, his body was enveloped by a fiery purple aura. His muscles grew slightly, his eyes became wilder, and a divine yet...
Before I even say anything, bro, me personally, I'm always a huge fan of Super Saiyan 3. Bro, Super Saiyan 3, it is nice. But at the end of the day, it's not good because they become a little bit slow. But if them punches engage, you cooked. You definitely cooked for me.
Brutal energy emanated from him. Trunks felt his legs weaken. Trunks spoke. This is the power that surpasses Super Saiyan Blue?" Vegeta said, "Exactly. Ultra Ego isn't limited to perfect control like Kakarot's Ultra Instinct. It thrives on battle, destruction, fighting." Goku deactivated his transformation and scratched his head, laughing. Goku said, "In the end, we're still tied, Vegeta." Vegeta said, Just because you got a little lucky." Whis lightly tapped his staff on the ground, catching everyone's attention. Whis said, "Now that Trunks understands the level needed, we can begin training." Beerus said, "Finally, just remember, 3 days. After that, I want that kid out of here." The next few days were the most intense of Trunks' life. Goku began by showing the principles of Ultra Instinct. Goku said, "The important thing is to let your body move on its own without thinking." Meanwhile, Vegeta focused on the opposite philosophy. Vegeta said, "Ultra Ego is about desire. The more you want to fight, the stronger you become." Trunks did his best, trying to absorb both teachings. He trained under extreme pressure, even taking blows from Vegeta and Goku. On the second day, something strange happened. While blocking a combined attack from Goku and Vegeta, in their base forms of course, Trunks' aura began to fluctuate between the blue of rage and a new shade, crimson orange. Whis said, "Oh, that's interesting." Beerus, who had been feigning disinterest until then, sat down. Beerus said, "Is he mixing the philosophy of the techniques?" On the last day, during a final sparring match with Vegeta, Trunks...
Damn, I don't know. I just want to see how it's going to turn to be. Is it going to be Super Saiyan 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? I can wait. I just want to see.
Trunks finally understood. When Vegeta's fist was inches from his face, the world seemed to slow down. His body acted on its own, like Ultra Instinct. But instead of being calm, a fiery rage burned within him like Ultra Ego. Trunks began to scream. A burst of crimson energy enveloped the young warrior. His hair grew longer, similar to his rage form, but now with orange highlights. His eyes shone with a divine light and his aura pulsed like wild flames. Vegeta and Goku stepped back, watching Trunks' new transformation. Goku said, "Wow, he did it!" Vegeta said, "It's not so bad." Whis examined Trunks with scientific interest. Whis said, "Fascinating, he's merged the instinct for self-preservation with his innate fury. The body moves with precision, but the power comes from emotion." Beerus rubbed his chin and said, "So, can we call this Ultra Rage?" Trunks, panting, looked at his hands. The power was overwhelming but controllable. Trunks said, "Ultra Rage, that's a perfect name." Whis smiled and said, "Looks like your future is in good hands, Trunks." Goku patted him on the back and said, "Now, if Moro shows up, you give him a good kick for me, huh?" Vegeta just felt proud and said, "Don't let me down, kid." Beerus stood up and stretched. Beerus said, "Good, now get off my planet." Whis, ever serene, floated over to Trunks as the young warrior prepared to enter the time machine. Whis spoke. "This..."
At some point, I just gotta go and find the episode where he used the Ultra Rage. Is it the Ultra Rage? Exactly. I don't know. I forgot. But the new transformation of Trunks, I feel like he was kicking a whole lot of butts in that transformation. I gotta go and find the episode where he used that transformation.
Transformation! Ultra Rage, as Lord Beerus suggested, is truly unique. It combines the innate fury of the Saiyans with divine discipline. Your body reacts instinctively, but your strength comes from your passion for battle, an interesting balance between Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. Trunks looked down at his hands, feeling the pulsing power. Trunks spoke. "I've never felt anything like it. It's as if my strength responds to my emotions, but without overpowering me." Whis spoke. "Exactly. While Goku's Ultra Instinct eliminates emotions and Vegeta's Ultra Ego amplifies them, your power harmonizes them. Very fascinating." Beerus, already impatient, snorted. Beerus spoke. "Enough analysis, Whis. He already has what he came for." Vegeta, with his arms crossed, maintained his usual air of superiority, but a glint of pride was in his eyes. Vegeta said, "Remember, power without control is useless. Do not waste what you have learned here." Trunks nodded with determination. Trunks said, "I will not disappoint you. With this strength, I will protect my future." He then looked at Whis and Beerus, bowing slightly in respect. Trunks said, "Thank you for allowing me this training, Beerus-sama, and thank you for your advice, Whis." Beerus just rolled his eyes, but Whis smiled warmly. Whis said, "It was a pleasure, Trunks. Who knows, maybe one day you will come back to tell us how your little Takshi is doing." The mention of his son made Trunks smile. He pressed the activation button on the time machine, which began to hum and glow. Trunks said, "I will. Until then, take care." With one last wave, the time machine activated in a flash of light. When the light dissipated, Trunks had disappeared, back to his own time, where new challenges awaited him. In the alternate future, the sky was dark when Trunks reappeared in his time. The time machine landed gently in the backyard of his house. Before he even left, he felt it, an evil presence hovering on the horizon. My Future said, "Trunks, you're back!" She ran toward him relieved. Her eyes widened at the sight of his new aura. My Future said, What happened to you?" Trunks smiled, looking up at the dark sky. Trunks said, "I've learned a few things, and now, it's time for us to face the danger that's coming." He clenched his fists, and the crimson aura of his Ultra Rage form erupted around him. Trunks said, "This time, we won't back down." Hey guys, this is how we end another epic story here on the channel. Did you enjoy seeing Trunks with his new transformation, revalidating his powers with his father, Vegeta, and of course, Goku? Now everyone is on the same level. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Bye!
Damn, that is smooth and crazy, bro. I can't wait to see Trunks using the Ultra Orange, the Ultra Orange new power. The Ultra Rage and the Ultra Rage. Oh, the Ultra Orange, the Ultra Rage. That is smooth. I just gotta go and watch the other episode before me. So yeah, hopefully you did enjoy. Like, share, subscribe. See you on the next reaction. We out.